Hello, friends. I come to you from the future, but right now it's day 4 and day 14. It's day 14. So we started off today with a trip to Alnwick Castle, which is located in Northumberland. It is the seat of the 12th Duke of Northumberland and was built following the Norman conquest and has been renovated and remodeled a number of times. And as I said, the 12th Duke of Northumberland and his family is Mr. Ralph Percy. So, in around 2016, the castle received over 600,000 visitors that year when combined with the nearby Alnwick Gardens. And you need to buy 2 separate tickets, one for Alnwick Castle and one for Alnwick Gardens. The one ticket does not cover both. They are 2 separate businesses. Anyways, on to some stuff about Alnwick Castle, because we have to get there first. Alright, so Ivo de Vesey, Baron of Alnwick, a nobleman from Vassy Calvados in Normandy, erected the first parts of the castle around 1096, and his one of his daughters, Beatrix, she married the Constable of Chestershire, there we go, and Knaresborough, Eustace Fitzjohn. Through the marriage, he gained the baronetcies of Malton and Alnwick, and the castle was first mentioned in 1136 when it was captured by King David I of Scotland and was described as a stronghold. It was then besieged in 1172 and again in 1174 by William the Lion, the King of Scotland. William was captured outside the walls during the Battle of Alnwick, and Eustace was accused of plotting with Robert Fitzwalter against King John in 1212. The response was that John was ordered to demolish Alnwick Castle, and along with the Fitzwalter stronghold, Banyard's Castle, but the instructions to destroy Alnwick were never carried out, luckily. John de Vesey, a descendant of Ivo, succeeded to his father's title and the estate upon his death in 1253. He was underage at the time when he inherited the barony of Alnwick, and the considerable estates in Yorkshire, including Malton, went to King Henry at the time, as he was the conferred ward of the estates. Through all of this, Anthony Beck, he ended up looking after the estates, I think, on behalf of King Henry, and he actually sold the properties to the Percys against kind of what the Veseys would have wished. But again, John was underage, so he didn't have a lot to say. And so yeah, the Percys have had the properties ever since. The stone castle that Henry Percy bought was modest, and so he began rebuilding, but he did not live to see its completion. The construction turned Alnwick into a major fortress along the Anglo-Scottish border. His son continued the building, with the Abbot's Tower, the Middle Gateway, and the Constable's Tower survived from this period. And the work at Alnwick Castle balanced military requirements with the family's residential needs and set the template for castle renovations in the 14th century in northern England. Several palace fortresses considered extensive, opulent, and theatrical date from this period, such as Bamburgh, which we're going to in a minute, and Rapty. In 1356, Percy acquired Warkworth Castle, and it became the family's preferred residence. We're going to jump forward in history a bit here to the 7th Earl of Northumberland, Thomas Percy, who was executed as a result of goodness knows what, actually. It didn't tell me. Anyways, by about 1572, Alnwick Castle was increasingly uninhabited. The 9th Earl of Northumberland placed his distant cousin, another Thomas Percy, in charge as constable in 1594, but just over a decade later, Thomas was killed fleeing the gunpowder plot, and the Earl was imprisoned in the Tower of London, beginning a time of over a century without a significant Percy presence at Alnwick Castle. In 1650, Oliver Cromwell would use the castle to house prisoners following the Battle of Dunbar. In the second half of the 18th century, Robert Adam carried out many alterations, as did James Payn, Daniel Garrett, and Capability Brown, all under the orders of the returning Percy family. Elizabeth Seymour and Hugh Smithson were elevated to First Duke and Duchess of Northumberland in 1766 by George III, whose restorations at Windsor Castle partly inspired the couple's work at Alnwick. The interiors were largely in Strawberry Hill Gothic style, not typical of Adam's work, which can be seen at the Northumberland's home in London at Sion House. In the 19th century, the 4th Duke of Northumberland replaced much of Adam's architecture and paid Anthony Salvin £250,000 between 1854 and 1865 to remove recent additions and remodeled the castle in a more convincingly medieval style. Little of Adam's work remains in the room shown to the public, which were changed to an opulent Italianate style in the Victorian era by one Luigi Canina. The current Duke and his family live in the castle, but only occupy part of it. The Windsor Castle, it is the second largest inhabited castle in England and the 10th most visited stately home in England. During World War II, the Newcastle Church High School for Girls was evacuated to Alnwick Castle, and since the war, other parts of the castle have been used by educational establishments. From 1945 to 1977, it was used as a college for teacher training, and since 1981 by St. Cloud State University of Minnesota as a branch forming their international study program. The public interest has increased as the castle was used as an exterior for a stand-in and interiors for Hogwarts. So that would explain the kid dressed up in his Gryffindor uniform. Do you want to hear any more? Here's a little bit more. So by the 12th century, the general layout still remains today, and it was one of the earliest castles built without a square keep. It is two main rings of buildings, the principal rooms in one, and it's a much rebuilt shell-shaped keep, and the center of the castle. And Alnwick Shell Keep features 10 tightly packed towers to flank the gate. 3 were added in the 14th century, and the remainder were added by Slavin. I think that just about covers everything, unless you want me to list the names of the towers, but I think I'll let you Google that instead. All right, I'm going to get on with the second stop of the day because there's just about as much to say about Bamburgh as there was to say about Alnwick. All right, so Bamburgh Castle, located on the northeast coast of England by the village of Bamburgh in Northumberland, was originally the location of a Celtic Brittonic city known as Dingwari, and may have been the capital of the kingdom of Bernicia from its foundations circa 420 to 547. In that last year, it was captured by King Ida of Bernicia, I have no idea. Afterwards, it passed between the Britons and the Anglo-Saxons 3 times. The fort came under Anglo-Saxon control in 590, and the Normans later built a new castle on the site, which forms the core of the present keep building. After a revolt in 1095, supported by the castle's owner, it became the property of the English monarch. In the 17th century, financial difficulties led to the castle deteriorating, but it was restored by various owners during the 18th and 19th centuries, and finally bought during the Victorian era by industrialist William Armstrong, who completed its restoration, and the castle still belongs to the Armstrong family today and is open to the public. All right, okay. So, it is built on the top of a black crag of volcanic dolerite during the revolt in 1095, supported by its owner Robert de Mowbray, Earl of Northumbria. After Robert was captured, his wife continued the defense of the castle until she was coerced to surrender by the king's threat to blind her husband. So there we go. Then became the property of the reigning monarch Henry II, who built the keep that was completed in 1164. And following that, there was a siege on the castle in 1191, and as a reward for his service, King Richard I appointed Sir John Forster the first governor of Bamburgh Castle. Following the defeat of the Scots at the Battle of Neville's Cross in 1346, King David II was held prisoner at Bamburgh Castle, and then during the civil wars at the end of King John's reign, the castle was under the control of Philip of Old Coates, and then in 1464, during the War of the Roses, it was subject to a 9-month siege by Richard Neville, the 16th Earl of Warwick, also known as the Kingmaker, on behalf of the court Yorkists, which was marked by the extensive use of artillery. The Forster family of Northumberland continued to provide the crown with successive governors of the castle when the crown granted ownership of the church and the castle to Sir John Forster in the mid-1500s after the dissolution of the monasteries. The family retained ownership until Sir William Forster, who died in 1700, was declared bankrupt after his death. His estates, including the castle, were sold to Lord Crewe, Bishop of Durham, under an Act of Parliament to settle the debts in 1704. Crewe placed the castle in the hands of a board of trustees who refurbished the castle keep and the courtrooms and established a hospital on the site. In 1894, the castle was bought by Victorian industrialist William Armstrong, who completed a full restoration. During World War II, pillboxes were established in the sand dunes to protect the castle and surrounding area from German invasion, and in 1944, the Royal Navy corvette was named the HMS Bamburgh Castle. The Armstrong family still own the castle today, but do live nearby. They don't live in the castle, but there's lots of cute placards all over the place of memories of the family growing up in the castle and saying it was fun to play pool on the pool tables and running about and playing pirates and things in the big castle. Look at the inlay on that gun. Oh, stunning. All right. The castle's laundry rooms feature the Armstrong and Aviation Artifacts Museum, which exhibits Victorian industrialists William Armstrong and Armstrong Whitworth, the manufacturing company he founded. Displays include engines, artillery, and weaponry, along with aviation artifacts from both the World Wars. And look at the size of that chain. That chain was huge. All right, so there we go. We've done Alnwick Castle and Bamburgh Castle, and now we are off to the seaside for a bit of fun at the seaside. So I hope you enjoy our little jolly off to the seaside. All right, talk to you soon, and we'll be back. Bye.
Good. As we're here, I'll make sure to reverse over the people that didn't want to pay and go in. Well, I may well have been right. Well, it is quite an expensive day, Pat.
Oh yeah.
$50 at Alnwick, and then drive over here, and maybe 40 some here. Mind you, you can't go on holiday and do nothing, can you?
Yeah.
Well, that was an adventure. It really was. It was very unique. And I only came because of something a couple said to me. Yeah.
To see how it's going to Bamburgh.
This is ridiculous. What is this heat? Amazing, isn't it? Shouldn't let me go. I feel like driving into it. No, it would be bad.
don't have the energy.
Nice that you can drive up. You don't have to park at the bottom. No, it was this one. Yeah, this one.
I thought he said it was that one.
I thought you had to follow this road. But we always come back this one. We keep going round.
Closer than it looks.
Well, we can maybe look how this road works, because we don't need to be right in
No, it was the
Bamburgh.
golf course road, the one I wanted to do originally.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, quiet. I'm not moving a lot.
Why aren't you moving much?
Because I'm just being quiet. I can see the sea, Ash.
I can see Bamburgh Castle.
Yeah? Are you on good terms with Bamburgh Castle?
I think so.
I think it's quite amazing how it simply pops out.
Interesting that they've decided to go entirely cashless, because everyone like seems to be going back. There's a lot of places that seem to be going back to cash because they think that like the processing fees of card is too expensive.
And the processing fee seems to have gone up.
Yeah.
Somebody knows this in Bamburgh. A big church.
Now we'll go for a doodle around this parking lot. Just in case.
Okay, because we just paid for
I don't think this is it. I think
I
this
think
is the
you're
golf
right.
course one.
Yeah, you're right. And I think it was saying no through road that put me off, but of course it's a no through road
Because it ends in
because
the
it ends
ocean.
the ocean. Yeah. It's an unusual shape church, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks hot. No, don't imagine it's his parking.
No, but I think he's
He
like
might
the
leave it
supervisor
before.
over it.
Yeah.
Grace Darling. Now then. There it is. I was like, I don't see it. Wind well. The winding
Seems to be doing well. Yeah, that's what he said. DWY. It must be a Bamburgh flag then.
Maybe. Those red and white lines that
Yeah.
I've seen.
They're yellow, I think.
Uh-huh. What would you?
Fierce for one of them, not fierce enough for the other.
Coffee, bacon, crab. Yum.
That's an odd list.
Coffee, bacon, crab. Hello, drink, wasn't it? Down at right here.
I don't think so.
No longer putting my shoes on and everything.
There it is.
It's gone.
That was a fast moving choo-choo.
I know, so serious.
Now turn right.
Alnwick. We know Alnwick.
That one was signaling.
Well, no.
Middleton.